Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 6.
It looks like another record cold night ahead across central and eastern Kentucky. The very latest on the temperature forecast coming up.
A tough job made even tougher on days like this. How people who work in the cold deal with the elements.
They should have done had this took care of.
Parents frustrated over heating problems at an eastern Kentucky high school.
And a man talks to us about being injured while trying to break up a violent fight on a college campus. WKYT News at 6 starts now. Good evening. You feel it the moment you step outside the door. An Arctic blast has a real firm grip on the bluegrass tonight.
And the sunshine didn't do much to warm things up today. Here is what Jacobson Park looked like from the air when Officer Don flew over in Sky First. We begin tonight with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey. Hi, Chris.
Hey, guys. Yeah, what a beautiful scene out there today. Trouble is you don't normally see that in the middle of November. And I'm noticing on my way in this morning, there's a pond across the station here on Winchester Road that has ice on it already. That is indicative of the Arctic air, record-setting Arctic air today. Look at the numbers for the city of Lexington. Only 22 degrees for that high temperature today after a low this morning of 12. Both of those are records for the day. The oldest, coldest high temperature before today back in 1903. What's 100 years plus for among friends? 24 degrees. We broke that by 2. We tied the record low this morning from 1959. That was 12. You put both of those numbers together. This was the coldest November day in Lexington since November 29 of 1976. Now, that had, what, 10, 11 days on where we are right now. So that was deeper into November. This is a very, very impressive Arctic air mass for this time of the year. 20 degrees right now, Lexington and Frankfort. A lot of those rural areas are dropping into the upper teens already, and as the sun sets, it's going to be a quick drop through the mid-teens over the next several hours. Gusty winds giving us a wind chill that is still going below zero. Nothing showing up on Live First Alert Defender, but as we check out the weather headlines, Arctic air continues. Wet changes for the weekend. Wet would mean a little bit of a mild up before we turn cold again, guys. A busy 7-day forecast when I come back here in just a little over 10 minutes.
Chris, thank you. Most of us tried to stay inside as much as possible today, but not everyone could do that.
Now, people whose jobs require them to work outside had to take some extra precautions. Jordan Valines talked to some construction workers. They spent the day out in the cold. She continues our Live First Alert weather team coverage. Jordan?
That's right. The best way to avoid the cold is obviously to stay indoors, but construction workers here at this site do not have that option, and they say that staying warm is a job in and of itself. For many folks out there, their livelihoods depend on working outdoors despite the weather.
We have to make the best of it. So we wrap up in a lot of clothes in the winter and we try and work.
Along with bundling up, it's also important to keep your body busy.
When you keep busy out here, you adapt and your body adapts to it, and you can work very easily.
And when the cold temperatures roll in, the Lexington Fire Department brings in additional staff.
In any adverse condition, including weather extremes, whether it's too hot or too cold, we do try to use extra manpower to be able to rotate the crews and to keep everyone fit.
So whether they're putting out a fire or putting on a new roof, these employees say their work isn't easy, it's necessary. And in order to stay warm, construction workers here take frequent breaks and also use an outdoor heater. Live in Lexington, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
Thank you, Jordan. Volunteers will hit the streets of Lexington again tonight looking for any homeless people who need a warm place to stay. The Catholic Action Center is trying to get as many homeless people to shelters as possible. Last night, volunteers found 12 people and took them to shelters. We're told that no one will be turned away from the city shelters.
They call it bad timing. Breathitt County school leaders had planned to replace the heating system at Breathitt County High School, but it comes during this Arctic blast. So without heat at the high school, all Breathitt County schools were closed today and will be again tomorrow. But as Sam Smith tells us, some parents say this problem should have been fixed a long time ago.
These kids are going to lose 2 days now because of the heat not being fixed before now.
Crystal Moore has a daughter at Breathitt County High School.
They should have done had this took care of.
She's frustrated that her sophomore stayed home because the high school has no heat.
You know, I'm always optimistic getting to, not to Thanksgiving, but getting to Christmas without missing any school for weather.
State Manager Larry Hammond says the heat at the high school has been a problem since the spring, when the building's old boilers started to fail.
It was a long process to get it in motion, and then when they were disconnected, the boilers were removed several days ago. The cold snap came and caught us at the wrong time.
Officials are waiting on ductwork to be installed in order to get the heating system working again. That work is expected to be done tomorrow afternoon, and school should be back in session Thursday.
And to miss because of heating situation is less than fortunate.
School was in session on Monday. Space heaters were brought in over the weekend. Hammond says the temperature then was comfortable enough for students, and the heaters would not have gotten the job done today. In Breathitt County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Breathitt County school leaders say that today and tomorrow will be treated like snow days that will be made up at the end of the year.
He stepped in to break up a fight, but ended up being injured himself. Tonight, a Hazard Community and Technical College faculty member is sharing his story. Victor Gaynor saw a fight on campus yesterday, but one of the people involved had a box cutter, and Gaynor was cut. As Jennifer Palumbo tells us from the live desk, this is not the first time Gaynor has stepped in to help during a violent situation. Jennifer?
Sam, Victor Gaynor says when he saw two young men fighting in a hallway of the First Federal Center, he didn't think twice about jumping in to try to break up the fight. All right. One of them pulled out a box cutter. All three men ended up with minor injuries from the struggle. Gaynor is an associate professor at the college. He says he was just doing his job, and that includes keeping his students safe.
I just see myself as doing what a man supposed to do. And, you know, I love my students. I love them here, and they know I love them. And when parents send their kids here, it's our job to make sure these kids are safe.
This isn't the first time Gaynor has come to the rescue of someone in trouble. Back in 2010, he stopped a man trying to stab District Court Judge Leanne Stevens at a restaurant. That time, he threw the man out a window. But Gaynor says neither act makes him a hero, and he'll do it again if someone needs help. At the live desk, Jennifer Palumbo, WKYT.
He sounds like a hero. Police arrested the 17-year-old suspect after he was treated and released from the hospital. His name is not being released because he's a minor.
Tonight, Lexington police have connected a man to 2 robberies, including one today. Police arrested 32-year-old Ronnie Wilcox this afternoon. He's charged with 2 counts of robbery and 1 count of evidence tampering. Around noon today, police say Wilcox robbed the Central Bank on Maple Leaf Drive near Man o' War. They say he walked up to a teller with his face covered and demanded money. Police say Wilcox also robbed Advance America on Southland Drive last Tuesday. Tonight, we have learned a lawsuit has been filed against a man accused of scamming investors out of millions of dollars. We've been tracking the case against Kenneth Thomas for a few months now. Police charged him with theft and fraud. Thomas owned Retire America in Lexington. Kristen Kennedy has court documents that reveal some new information in the case.
In an alleged retirement scam we've been following since September, we're finally starting to hear from victims. Lexington police accused Kenneth Thomas of running an investment scam and cheating more than half a dozen families out of millions. In a new lawsuit, one of his former clients reveals what happened to her and her late husband. She says they invested more than $1 million with Thomas. They trusted him and his company, Retire America, with their life savings. The widow says she tried getting information when her husband passed away about the $1.2 million they invested with Thomas. She claims he told her their cash investments were gone. We talked to the woman on the phone. She thought Thomas was their friend. She's in terrible shock, trying to cope with the loss of her husband and the loss of the money they saved together.
Thomas is set to be back in court for an arraignment on the 26th, along with Shannon Hurst, Philip Sash, and Roy Myers.
Police say Hurst knew what was happening inside Retire America. We're told she was Thomas's secretary, and we're just learning what detectives have known from the start. They say Hurst used funds intended for investments to pay her rent, car payments, cell phone, and credit card bills. She's listed as a defendant in the civil suit along with Thomas and several others linked at one time or another to Retire America. In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
A grand jury indicted Hurst, Ash, and Myers for registration of securities. Hurst is also facing a theft by deception charge.
Tonight, the UK basketball team facing a tough early season test. They'll be putting up their #1 ranking on the line against Kansas. And Coach Cal says his team needs a challenge. Lee K. Howard joins us from Indianapolis with a preview of tonight's game.
Hey guys, it should be a great atmosphere for college basketball tonight when 4 of the top teams in the country take this Bankers Life Fieldhouse court. You know, Kentucky playing Kansas immediately following the Duke-Michigan State game. Last year, you remember, Kentucky got off to a slow start against the Spartans, and that's something that John Calipari said that his team can't afford to do this time against a very scrappy Kansas team.
They're denying wings, they're pressuring the ball, they're trying to steal passes, they're trapping pick and rolls, and they're going nutty. And we could start out 10-0 the same way. And it wasn't 10-0 we were up. It was 10-0 we didn't. I had to call 2 timeouts to get the thing settled down. But, you know, I would hope that these veterans understand what they're walking into. But look, teams are going to play like their life depends on it. And then we got to do the same.
And we will see what kind of energy these guys come out and play with tonight, especially when you consider a lot of these guys on this roster have played in big game atmospheres. Until then, reporting for the Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Lee K. Howard, WKYT.
And for more Big Blue coverage, just go to WKYT.com.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Tonight, we have learned more about a fire that damaged a building used by the Bryan Station High School softball team.
That fire destroyed the press box and damaged the concession stand yesterday afternoon. The Bryan Station softball coach now says the team lost some equipment in the fire, including a PA system and speakers. The coach says it'll cost about $30,000 to replace the equipment and rebuild. Firefighters are still investigating what caused the fire.
Do you have a parking meter citation to pay here in Lexington? There's now a way to take care of that while also helping out a good cause. The Lexington Parking Authority launched its Food for Fines canned food drive yesterday. Through December 19th, you can bring in 10 cans of food to Lex Park to pay for any meter citation.
Nobody likes paying a parking citation, but people do usually like to donate to charity or have an opportunity to help folks with food, so we thought it was just kind of a perfect match.
Lex Park will donate all canned food donations to God's Pantry Food Bank.